When a police officer's loyal canine suddenly started barking uncontrollably at his casket during the funeral, no one understood what was happening. He scratched, growled, and howled as if he'd gone mad. People tried to calm him down, but the dog wouldn't stop. Finally, despite the police chief's warnings, the decision was made to open the casket. And when they did, everyone screamed. What they saw inside wasn't just shocking, it changed everything they thought they knew about that night. This is the story of a dog who refused to let the truth be buried. The cemetery was soaked in cold rain. Police officers stood in silent ranks, black uniforms and umbrellas blending into the gray morning. Ethan Carter's family huddled close, grief etched into their faces. At their feet sat Max, Ethan's German Shepherd partner, wearing his canine vest. His eyes held sorrow and something more. Without warning, Max lunged forward. He charged the casket, sniffing furiously, then exploded into loud, relentless barking. Gasps echoed through the crowd as Max clawed at the wood, refusing to be dragged away. The police chief stepped closer, his voice tight. "Don't open that casket. Ethan's injuries were severe. No one should see that." But Ethan's mother, trembling and pale, sobbed out, "Open it, please. Something's wrong." Two officers hesitated, then slowly lifted the casket lid. A wave of screams and stunned silence rippled through the mourners. Ethan's mother collapsed, sobbing, "That's not my son." Max, meanwhile, fell completely silent. His tail gave a single, slow wag, as though he had finally delivered his message. Long before this moment, back in 2017, Ethan Carter was a young officer who had always loved dogs. The moment he joined the force, he requested assignment to the canine unit. That's how he met Max, a 3-year-old German Shepherd whose once bright eyes were shadowed with grief. Max's previous handler had been killed in a violent raid. Since then, the dog had refused to bond with anyone new. At first, Max and Ethan worked side by side, but a quiet distance hung between them. Max obeyed commands, but his eyes remained wary, as if they were waiting for someone who would never return. Everything changed one winter night when a little girl went missing in the woods. Hours into the freezing search, Ethan pushed through dense trees, calling the child's name. Max suddenly froze, ears high, nose quivering, then bolted into the darkness. Ethan followed him through brambles and snow until they found the frightened child hidden inside a hollow tree, shivering but alive. That night, back at the station, Max quietly curled up at Ethan's feet for the first time. Ethan looked down, smiled, and whispered, "Good boy." In that moment, a bond formed between man and dog, a bond deeper than words. From then on, Ethan and Max were inseparable. They tracked fugitives, found missing people, and solved countless cases. Their trust in each other became legendary in the department. Then, one bitter winter night, everything changed. Ethan and Max were dispatched to intercept a violent gang of armed robbers. Gunfire erupted in the darkness, sirens wailed, officers shouted over the chaos. Ethan was struck by multiple bullets and collapsed to the ground, blood pooling around him. Max tried desperately to drag his partner to safety, even as a bullet grazed his own side. By the time backup arrived, Ethan lay motionless. And now, here they were at Ethan Carter's funeral. Max's bark shattered the heavy silence of the graveyard, echoing like a desperate alarm. The funeral was stopped instantly. Police rushed to the hospital, demanding answers. Doctors, pale and trembling, confessed a terrible truth. On the night of the shootout, 2 officers had been rushed into the hospital, one already gone, the other barely clinging to life. In the chaos, the bodies were misidentified. The officer who died wasn't Ethan, it was his partner. Ethan, critically wounded, had been placed in a medically induced coma. His face was bandaged beyond recognition, and no one had thought to check the identification carefully. Weeks later, Ethan slowly opened his eyes in a stark hospital room. His voice was a faint whisper, "Max?" Tears streamed down his face as he learned the truth. He mourned his fallen partner, but felt overwhelming gratitude to be alive, and to Max, who had refused to let his friend be buried under a tragic mistake. When Ethan was strong enough to stand, Max was brought to his hospital room. The dog leapt into Ethan's arms, pressing close as though he'd never let go again. Today, Ethan Carter and Max are back on duty, side by side. In their department, everyone knows, sometimes the strongest bond in the world is between a man and his dog. And sometimes, The one who reveals the truth doesn't speak with words at all.